Who would want 15 minutes of this kind of, not fame, shame?
A police officer in Palm Beach, Florida, stops a female driver. Without ever getting out of the car, she is issued a traffic citation and heads off. But later, in a videotaped statement, she lodges serious charges against the officer.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
She accused him of taking her out of the car, frisking her, sexually assaulting her, and placing her back in the car.
When I stepped out of the car, he proceeded to frisk me on the sides, pat me on my chest up here, and then he fondled my breast. I believe it was fondling. I don't believe it was frisking. He patted me on my stomach all the way down and over my dress.
Yeah.
He caressed my vagina. I feel very, very, very violated.
In a second taped interview, the police inform her that the entire traffic stop was shot on videotape and give her an opportunity to change her statement, but she declines.
For what if I told you that I've seen the videotape of this incident in its entirety from the time that you were stopped to the time that you left the scene? Would that change any of your statement that you just told me?
Yes.
They then accused her, of course, of lying and making a false report to this incident. Finally, she admits that she lied, that she fabricated the story.
Who would want 15 minutes of this kind of, not fame, shame?
A drama in a California courtroom. A promising young football star who had been imprisoned for years on charges of kidnapping and rape was exonerated today. He won his freedom after he secretly recorded his accuser, a childhood friend, who admitted that she had lied. ABC's Cecilia Vega is in Los Angeles.
It was the moment Brian Banks had been waiting a decade for.
The people's motion to dismiss this case.
And as he heard those words he knew to be true all along, all he could do was sob. Banks had been wrongly convicted, falsely accused of raping and kidnapping a childhood friend. Today, a judge tossed out the charges, and Banks walked out of court in pure jubilation, hoping for a new future.
Who would want 15 minutes of this kind of, not fame, shame?
McCaffrey tells the police he and his pals did cruise around with Bjorny in the van, then left her back at her car, drunk but unharmed. His denials are absolute and unflinching. Did you rape Bjorny?
Of course not.
Did you assault Bjorny?
No, I did not.
Did you give her any reason to believe that you were a threat to her?
Not at all.
Supporting McCaffrey's claims, the rape kit comes back negative. The strongest evidence of a physical attack police have is a bite mark on Bjorny's shoulder. But still, if it comes down to a he said, she said, the cops are probably going to accept what she said. Do they seem like they believe you?
Not at all.
McCaffrey maintains his innocence up and through the trial, even taking the stand to defend himself. Bjorny maintains his guilt, and almost solely on the basis of her emotional testimony, the jury votes to convict. When you heard the word guilty, how'd you take it?
Who would want 15 minutes of this kind of, not fame, shame?
Police say this woman, a 36-year-old licensed psychologist, Lorianne Martinez, faked a violent home invasion and rape.
The glass had been broken. It looked like there was some type of struggle. Her clothes had been torn, and she had some injury to her face and trauma to her face.
Cops say she went all out with this ruse. Here are a list of her self-inflicted injuries, allegedly. She split her own lip with a pin, scraped her knuckles with sandpaper, and then, this is the kicker, you might say, she had her friend punch her in the face. She ripped her blouse open and, no, this is actually the kicker, wet her pants on purpose. Martinez even said that credit cards and laptops had been stolen, but investigators say they later found them at the home of the friend who had punched her in the face, allegedly. Cops uncovered this hoax because she allegedly told her coworkers at the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, where she counseled inmates about her devious plan.
Who would want 15 minutes of this kind of, not fame, shame?
An alleged attack that had a New York college campus on edge.
It's crazy. That's scary.
Ended up being a hoax. 4 New York men were released from jail Wednesday after authorities dismissed charges that they had gang raped a Hofstra University student. The charges were dropped after the 18-year-old accuser recanted her story. Nassau County District Attorney Kathleen Rice said the woman eventually told law enforcement officials the sexual encounter was consensual.
And I said, you know, if you have sex with me, your wife is going to know it because you probably will infect her. And I thought I was very clever in saying that, but he was more clever. And instead, he made me have oral sex with him, which really was just horrible.
When I stepped out of the car, he proceeded to frisk me on the sides, pat me on my chest up here, and then he fondled my breast.
Why didn't you tell police?
Went back into my room. Because of Cosby's, well, first of all, nobody else had come out. I didn't know his history. I assumed I was not the only girl that he was doing this with. But who's going to believe me? Bill Cosby, the all-American dad, the all-American husband, the person, Mr. Jello.
A regional black newspaper. He refused to run. They were yelling, "Run, nigger, run." And only thing I heard him say, "I fought for my country in the war, and I'm not running from you." And he didn't run. He walked.
So, and I said that celebrities are targets.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no doubt about that. I mean, but when this amount of women who do not have a financial incentive comes forward,
yeah.
It just seems, it's not like Woody Allen.
On June 29th, articles report that 36% of Americans, about 80 million people, believe UFOs exist. And a tenth believe that they have spotted or seen one.
In Chesterfield Township, Michigan, if the police didn't have video cameras in their patrol cars, 2 officers might have lost their jobs and reputations. The trouble starts the day after an arrest is made for illegal drugs at a traffic stop.
The following morning, I received a phone call from the male and the female indicating that the officer had improperly touched her breast during the traffic stop and as a result caused injury to the female.
The accused officer, Jason Davidovich, is caught off guard.
My stomach just dropped because even though I know I did nothing wrong, just having serious charges brought against you like that, which, you know, could mean jail time, losing your job, losing everything you worked for, it's a really eerie feeling. It's like leaves you hollow inside.
The accusing couple files a complaint. not knowing the arrest was caught by a patrol car video camera.
It clearly showed that the officers acted properly. Without those tapes, the officer may be waiting trial himself for improperly touching a